Hello and welcome to the Enterprise Talk Conversation Series, a peer knowledge resource by the CXOs for the CXOs. Now to our host, Kanika Goswami.
Hi, I welcome you to a podcast on stage with enterprise thought leaders. My name is Kanika Goswami and I'm the managing editor of On Media's 6 B2B enterprise technology platforms. Today in our podcast, we have a slightly different kind of a conversation. We are running what is essentially a case study, but a little more about it. Enterprises across all sectors, technology is usually merely an enabler for better business outcomes. Today, we have a detailed discussion on how a technology solution has helped a hospitality company, an F&B company, meet its operational challenges and also business targets. To have this conversation, we have with us today Nicola Bryden. She's a technical lead commercial management at the Heineken Company. Hi, Nicola.
Hi.
Good to have you with us today. Nicola is a highly motivated and accomplished leader with over 20 years of expertise in project management and a proven track record of driving successful digital transformations. Throughout her career, she has developed a deep understanding of both business and technology, bridging gaps between the strategic goals and practical execution, while working closely with stakeholders to align positive initiatives with broader business objectives. We also have with us Eloise Maslewski. She's a head of client services at AND Digital, recognized by BIMA 100 as UK Client Service Superstar and a participant of the Creative Equals Business Class of 2021. Eloise is relentlessly passionate about providing top-tier collaborations with all her client partnerships, which have spanned many industries, both globally and locally. I'm so happy to have both of you on board with me today. I'm sure the discussion is going to be very interesting. Two accomplished ladies. As head of services of at AND Digital, Eloise focuses acutely on how collaboration can create lasting positive outcomes. She has been a huge advocate of inclusion, accessibility, and sustainability in digital throughout her career. So we start with Nicola. Would you share some insights about the challenges for the industry in achieving operational efficiency and ensuring data-driven decision making? Nicola, this one's for you.
Yeah, so really for us, the biggest challenge that we were facing was we had a very out-of-date deal modelling solution that was used by our frontline sales team within the on-trade part of the business. And our on-trade looks after like hospitality, so our pubs, our clubs, our restaurants and bars. And this system that they were using was like very out of date. It was operating on really old technology, so it was out of support and was a big risk to the organisation. If it was to fall over, there was a high chance we wouldn't be able to recover it. Now this is where all our commercial agreements are located, so it's very important that we have something that we can create these deals but be able to also track them, make sure that they're profitable, that they'll grow the revenue out of Heineken. So it was imperative that we did something about this. We knew it was going to be quite complex and tough, so it was something that we had put off for a number of years because it would take probably a different kind of thinking to drive the benefits that we were looking for. But going back to some of the challenges of this deal modelling product that we were using, it just wasn't very operational efficient for users of it. So our sales teams that were using the product, it just wasn't intuitive. It was difficult to move. There was lots of manual workarounds. So there was a lot of time that they were spent just trying to figure things out rather than actually doing the really important things. It's part of their job to grow our revenue, get more customers signed on board with Heineken. So we really did have to do something about it. And one of the other things that wasn't great was you could in theory create commercial deals that weren't profitable. So the old system didn't have any kind of logic and rules in place. Don't get me wrong, there was only a very small percentage of deals that were created like that, but still we wanted to make sure that going forward that was something that would just not be a possibility. So that's when we did reach out to AND Digital to try and tackle something to make sure that we could, all the wrongs of what we had in this system, completely correct it and make sure we've got something that's robust and future-proofed and has that scalability and longevity.
So why AND Digital Systems? How did you identify them to be the most suitable partner for the solution?
So we knew ourselves, Well, first of all, we wanted to look for a transformative, disruptive partner. And we knew that we needed to do this differently from how we've tackled projects before. We kind of had got into a rut of just doing things the same old way, and we wanted someone that would bring a different approach to how we would do it. But also we recognised that And had a lot of expertise and knowledge that they could bring that we could really utilise. Our D&T, our digital and technology director, he was relatively new to Heineken at that time. He had worked with and he thought it would be good for us to at least have an initial conversation and see if that would work for us. So we set up a call, and to be honest, really quite quickly, it was clear that they were the right partner for us. They've got a kind of unique model. It's a guide, build, equip, which we hadn't really experienced with other third parties that we worked with. So that was something special and a bit unique as well. But yeah, very quickly, we knew that we could confidently work well together and be successful in the delivery of a deal modelling solution, just with, as I've said, all the kind of knowledge and expertise that were at their disposal.
Yeah, I think kind of events after that as well. Yeah, certainly in those initial conversations, Nicola, I forget how long we've spanned over that time now. But I think where we got really excited, again, it was kind of looking at the kind of immediate challenge to be solved, but also that long-term impact that we could kind of bring together in that partnership. So speaking to that kind of a quick part of our model, and knowing that we could work together to kind of provide something that Heineken could take internally kind of for that long term. So that was a really exciting kind of kick-off for us, for sure.
And the thing was, even to further validate that they were the right partner for us, we did a rapid discovery. So it was a week's worth of workshops for And to get the opportunity to get closer to our business challenges, understand the on-trade part of the business more. And we were kind of blown away with the outputs, because they really understood our challenges and our problems, but also like the on-trade part of the business. It can be quite difficult at times to get your head round. So, but they really were able to soak in as much information and play it back to us. So there was it was obvious they were the right partner for us to go with. And even very quickly, we were able to establish that kind of one team mentality. So even in the course of that, like rapid discovery workshops, we really had that kind of nice kind of relationship established right at the offset, and it just continued to grow and grow as we worked with each other.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. It was, we kept saying it, didn't we? It was like, we leave the logos at the door. It's just one team, and we're all working on that challenge together. And I think that kind of that key relationship that we formed so quickly from the off was instrumental in our success kind of going forward as well.
So how did you manage to gel so fast, so much? Eloise, have you worked for a similar industry brand before? So did you have any prior insights on the kind of challenges they would be facing, or was it just from the communication from Nicola and her team that you were able to understand their issues very fast and then come up with a solution, really with speed? Did you have any experience on that?
Yeah, I think, in any technical project, actually the tech's usually the easier bit. It actually always boils down to communication, no matter what engagement is in flight, and it's establishing that trust and that real candid partnership early doors. Nicola and I had many, many conversations over time where we were able to have that really transparent and candid communication together whenever we face blockers, wherever we face challenges, to overcome that as one team. So I think communication and that being handled really well from the off is instrumental in that teamwork. And I think that transcends every kind of industry, every brand, every company, and it's just what you do with it. And it's everything from, creating a psychologically safe environment for the team to raise challenges or things that might be coming up, and make sure everyone's aware that it's good to raise things, through to people feeling like they can come up with new ideas as well, or new ways to crack new things. So I think we really created that environment through, from the off, and that also, some of the basics, like making sure we were having those in-person touch points as well. So, it wasn't all just remote calls. We were having meetings at each other's offices and kind of leveraging that as much as we could. Having the odd social, because we want to work hard, but you need to kind of have that light in that kind of long-term relationship as well, and making sure we have that. I think we did our kind of favourite Heineken product as one of our icebreakers. No surprise, mine was Newcastle Brown Ale, but
Or do we still do that? I'm not even sure, actually.
I think they still own it, but yeah. So it's creating that likeness at the start, and I think we were both very lucky that we had such a motivated and driven team. They very much did the hard yards. We were there to kind of be their sounding board and support when they needed it. So yeah.
But I think you're right, though. I mean, some of the stuff, it's not rocket science, but it is getting the basics right at the beginning that really set us up for success. So we were clear on roles and responsibility. I definitely think that, like, spending time together as a team. So yes, at times you can't help but be remote for certain occasions, but when you've got the opportunity to pull people together, it really does work. I'd second everything that Elle said there, actually.
So very honestly, I see you're so, Eloise, you're so right. Technology is an easier part of a collaboration that you set up with a partner client organization, right? So yes, I get that. So then what was the solution that you proposed to them? And internally, what was the kind of inputs that you had so that you could convince Nicola that the solution is going to meet their business requirements and solve whatever challenges they were facing?
Yeah, so I think probably back to kind of what Nicola touched on, earlier, it was less us kind of coming with something specific, and it was more about us kind of spinning up a collaborative team that were co-working through things together. I think one of the critical things that we kind of really kicked off with was truly understanding the user needs, so that we were creating a solution that again would be long term, and that would kind of really serve those challenges that kind of Nicola touched on at the start. So I remember some of our team again delighting in being able to do some of that user research, certainly in the industry we were talking about, and that really helped us understand the right requirements, and again what were true priority requirements versus nice to have kind of for the future. So we worked as one team again in an agile fashion, and that was a bit of a newer way of working for some of the team as well, to really kind of refine those kind of those ideas and those thoughts and validate that thinking along the way. So we kind of formed that backlog and then made the right tech stack choices as well, in terms of what would fit right with the different dependencies within Heineken. And I think, again, Nicola knows this also well, data was our big dependency. So what was also vital was making sure that we had the right data sources, we had the right data understanding, but working really collaboratively, again, with the data team within Heineken to get that kind of deep understanding and make sure everything could kind of sing together. Yeah.
So a little bit about the solution. What kind of tools went into it? How did you plan to put it in place? Stuff like that.
Yeah, so we had a full multi kind of functioning team. So we had our front end and back end developers. We were leveraging the tech stack that Heineken was already kind of embedding across a global business as well, so making sure we were fitting in with that. So leveraging kind of the cloud and all of that good stuff. But also, using tools back to that kind of user point, such as, Miro or workshops and whiteboards, to really flush out all of those different requirements before we kind of cracked on with build and detailed design. We used a variety of different methods as well in terms of delivery. So we worked in sprints, holding ceremonies, and kind of our team really churning through backlogs that they would kind of set up for those kind of periods. Yeah, Nicola, I don't know if you would add any more to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, yeah, because there is some constraints with working with Heineken because it's a global organisation. There's certain tools that you have to use. So, like, we had to utilise the Azure platform to build HeiDeal with on that. One of the things that we were keen, and because I would say probably Heineken we're a wee bit further on now in our digital journey, but we were wanting to do a bit of a digital transformation. And Mac architecture was something that we had heard branded about, but we really needed to upskill ourselves and learn more about it. And again, that's where and we're able to come in and almost educate us. And that was something that was like the kind of core of the design, was thinking about Mac principles. So again, that was all things that was great because we were almost learning from that. And that's things that we can reuse in the future when we're thinking about any other kind of new digital product that we might launch.
Yeah, it's a really good point actually, because then again, that composable nature and using those principles means we've got elements we can kind of spin off or wind down or wind up in time as well, rather than having a big creaky monolith solution that we've built that would be really hard to unpick later. So,
and that's exactly what we had previously. So we definitely didn't want to go down that route.
Any challenges that you faced during implementation or during training of the teams or during handover or the entire length of the project development, deployment, handover? Any challenges that you faced?
So there's quite a few challenges, like any project, to be honest, there's challenges. So the project itself was for a duration of about 18 months. I think we had hoped to go live a bit sooner with all the reasons I said at the beginning for the challenges. So the fact that the product that we were using was out of support, if it fell over, we might not be able to recover. So it was things like that. We were desperate to try and get a product launched, but it had to be the right tool. We wouldn't rush it. And I think once we got into understanding more around the data that was required, there was quite complex integrations because we have a SAP ERP system that hosts a lot of our information, and we had to take data from that and ingest it into HeiDeal. So there was a lot of complexity around that. It's like the iceberg analogy. Once you start to kind of look, you start to dig deeper and there's a lot more that you uncover. So that did set us back a wee bit. But the thing was the team were resilient and could come up with ideas to help get around that. Some of the other challenges, I think again, it's like your kind of usual kind of projects when you get into testing, things appear that maybe hadn't been considered. So then there's new requirements. So then you've got to go back and make some changes that way. But these are all things we're kind of familiar with. I think when it came to like training and so on, that was actually well received and well done. Elle, probably there's more things that you can talk to as well from your side, because there was a lot of things and kind of stepped in to help as well from their experience to kind of guide us through it. So I don't know if you want to add to that.
No, definitely. And I think, so when I kind of touched on, users really being at the heart of this as well, and that being something that we really wanted to focus on from the off in that solution, checking back in with those users when we were kind of, further down the line was really important as well. And I think that helped us really make sure we had that resilience pre-go live and make sure we had that robustness. And we were really kind of dotting our I's and crossing our T's, before we hit the big red button. So I think checking back in with those users were really key in making sure that was going to be a success and we had that assurance. And I think, again, once you see those kind of user quotes coming through, I think, Nicola, it was such a lovely day, wasn't it, when we started getting that through and everyone's so delighted with the thing that's been created. Again, our team did the hard yards for sure, and just seeing the flurry of quotes they were sharing in our channel was, an absolute delight to see. And I think as well, we wanted to make sure that we were creating something that Heineken could really use internally longer term and set their own teams up to manage and run. So making sure that we were starting to pepper in kind of that training in the latter stages was important as well. So we weren't just kind of flicking it over a fence, so to speak. We were bringing the people in on the journey. So yeah, I think probably another bounce off to that. Some of the operating models slightly changed, within Heineken as we went. So we had some teams kind of really remote in other locations who were going to kind of run that product longer term. So we needed to make sure we were kind of bringing them in and showing them how we were doing kind of releases of code and all of that good stuff. So they were building their confidence as they went. And also some of the Heineken team in the UK and in Edinburgh as well, kind of deepening some of the kind of understanding there. So I think that was a really important factor, a challenge, but an opportunity for us to work through together. Yeah.
So that was actually going to be one of my questions, which is not there in the questions I shared with you, that Heineken has a global presence. So
Yes.
did you face any challenge in probably deploying it across geographies, maybe not all geographies, but at least disparate, far-flung, different, far from each other kind of geographies?
Yeah, so actually this is a local product at the moment just for the UK, but that's actually a massive achievement and a success because it's the first digital product launched in the UK, and has been widely recognised across other opcos. The longer term plan is to roll it out to other opcos. I think it's just a bit too early days. I mean, it's only 6 months since we've launched the product, but it has been designed with that scalability in mind. So there are other opcos that have expressed an interest. But yeah, as I said, it's just a wee bit too early, but there's nothing to stop us deploying it. I think some of the opcos operate slightly differently in that on-trade space. So not everybody works the same way as the UK. So not every opco would maybe want to adopt the product, but certainly there's some very similar to us that hopefully in the near future that will be involved in helping shape that rollout with them.
And so now we come to the benefits and the advantages that Heineken derived from the solution. So would you be able to share some measurable benefits and numbers if possible?
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit tricky because it's only 6 months since we've been live. But some of the benefits. So immediately any new commercial deal that was created complies with our commercial policy. We know that they will be profitable, so it will increase or contribute towards our revenue margin growth. We've had something like over 3,000 deals actually processed through the system successfully. The end users love the product. Again, I think from what they had to where they are now, it is so much more user intuitive. They can navigate the system seamlessly. The manual workarounds, all the kind of silly things that was causing them a lot of wasted effort, that's all gone. So they can actually focus on their main job of upselling and building stronger relationships with the customers. We are able to track the performance of some of our deals as well. So yeah, there's just a lot of kind of benefits there. There's something like 130 users on the product, so they've all been trained as well. And again, like anything, there's like the odd incident that will flow through, which is expected for a brand new product. But yeah, it's well received. The users are able to use it without any real kind of hand holding. So lots of big successes there.
Eloise, anything you'd like to add to it?
Yeah, I think again, it's just been such an absolute delight to see kind of all of that hard work and hard effort as that one team kind of arrive at this junction at this point. There were lots of moments of, ad hoc challenges to just work through together, or new ideas and new ways of doing things. Again, that the team kind of came up with at the time, that we were able to kind of swarm around and pivot and, adapt as we were going. So it is truly a delight to see where we are today and how that's now running. And I think if I was to kind of pick one thread throughout the whole thing, it's people at the heart of it, whether it was people doing the work and being collaborative and open, and again, leaving the logos at the door and just working as one team, through to those end users who've adopted the product and who are running that now. and those end users were really generous with their time when we were going through this process as well. Because, yeah, my gosh, did we ask lots of questions as we were going for that all important research. So, so it's just been such a delight on all fronts, and really overcoming the challenges, but then also that kind of training piece as well, and how we could make sure more people are equipped with that knowledge and the kind of broader skills to keep things running for the long term. Yeah.
Any learnings from this project, this collaboration, this solution, deployment of this solution, whatever, for both of you? Any learnings that you carry out from this engagement?
I think it's probably just more the way we approached it is learning. So it's more just to make sure you incorporate that for any kind of future for project. I think the communication, going back to that, is just that is key. So that's something that I would want to kind of reapply every time we're doing something new. Maybe sometimes transparency was something we could maybe do bursts where there was an update and then it would go quiet for a wee bit and then there was another update. I think we recognised ourselves probably as we got nearer the end of the project that was something that we needed to focus on. So I think a learning for me is almost when you've got your comms plan at the start is making sure that you continue to have those updates and have everybody aligned so that all of your stakeholders know exactly where they are and there's none of this, well, maybe, and yeah, it just keeps everybody kind of clear on what's happening. So that's maybe my biggest kind of learning that I would take away.
I think that's a really nice kind of observation, and I guess as well that the thing is when you're working on a program of work that is spanning such a long period of time, so contextual in the complexity of what we were working on, but in that kind of time lapse, people are going to come and go, like that's going to happen as well. And I think sometimes that's almost like a little hidden, again, in that iceberg, it's like the hidden bit underneath of, to your point, Nicola, you can have that comms, the comms nailed and be kind of really clear on the roles of responsibilities, but maybe that might evolve as well down the line if people come and go in different roles. So I think that's probably something that I, for future, would more intently kind of look at as well. Yeah.
Great. I have to thank you for the time that you put in for us today. I am really, really grateful for the very candid discussion that we had. If there's no point that I've missed here, unless there's something else that both you ladies want to add to the discussion, is there anything that we missed discussing about the project, you feel?
I think we've summed it up quite well. But no, thank you, Kanika, for your time today.
It's a pleasure. I was really looking forward to this, and Adam has been so kind as to follow up for it and make sure that we go through with it.
Thank you so much for being with us. Please do follow us on social media for regular updates and new content.